Rickshaw Girl, Chapter 12. Don't scold her, the woman said quickly. She came here to work in exchange for the repairs on your rickshaw. She wanted to make things right. Not many people are brave enough to try that. Well, Naima, Father asked sternly, I asked you a question. I... All she could think of was to echo the rickshaw woman's words. I wanted to make things right, Father. Because of the rickshaw. That's why I came. Father's gaze traveled around the dark yard. Where is the rickshaw repairman? Why has he kept you here for so long? Naima moved closer to him. She's the owner of the shop, Father, she whispered, tipping her head in the direction of the woman. Father was silent. Naima knew he was trying to make sense of what she had just told him. I heard there was a new repair shop here, he said finally to the woman. Is yours the only one? The woman nodded. My father used to own a shop in this village, and my shop will live up to his motto, the best work at the best prices. See for yourself. Do, Father, Naima added softly. Please. All right, Father said. The shock of discovering the woman's identity seemed to have completely erased his anger. He walked around the yard slowly, studying the drying panels. The woman accompanied him, holding the kerosene lantern high. Naima waited nervously beside Father's rickshaw. Your work is good, Father said to the woman when the two of them rejoined Naima. Naima caught the ring of truth in his voice. This isn't only my work, the woman said quickly. Your daughter repainted those 4 panels. That's why I kept her here for so long. I wanted to see if she could do it. You did? She did? I'm not surprised because she paints the finest alpanas in the village. She told me. I don't doubt it. Now let me take a look at your rickshaw. The woman fingered the dents and stroked the scratched panels as though the rickshaw were alive. I can have it ready for you by tomorrow night, she said. It will be as good as new, perhaps even better. How much will it cost? Father asked, fumbling with the button that fastened the pocket on his shirt. Naima caught her breath. I won't take money, the woman said. I'll charge you the price of a promise. Excuse me? Father's fingers came out again, empty. Naima started breathing again. Your daughter's just the right age to learn the trade, the woman said. If you promise to bring her here 3 or 4 afternoons a week, I'll fix your rickshaw in exchange for her labor, and train her on top of it. If she's a good worker and our business picks up, I might even start paying her. Naima couldn't believe her ears. Could this be happening? Had the woman really said, our business? But then she realized that Father was quiet. He was looking at Naima, almost as if he were asking her a question. Naima didn't say anything, but she let her longing to take this chance show on her face. Father turned back to the woman. What about your sons? He asked. Don't they want to be trained? They could run the shop for you one day. My daughters were married years ago. Both are busy with their own lives in faraway villages. I have no sons. Neither do I, said Father. But you do have a daughter with talent, and I'd like to train her to paint rickshaws. Naima kept her eyes on Father. He'd always insisted that daughters were as good as sons. Now he had the chance to prove that he meant it. His hand traveled once more toward his pocket, but it stopped in midair, changing direction, and landed on Naima's shoulder instead. I'm proud to make such a promise, he told the woman. My daughter is a good girl. She learns quickly and will serve you well. Naima's mind raced ahead to the long afternoon rests Father would take before driving her to the repair shop. A box of new paints, a butter yellow silk sari, a gray woolen shawl, and a pot of juicy rashagala paraded before her eyes. She wanted to leap and shout and do a victory dance around the battered rickshaw. She wanted to throw her arms around it and plant kisses on the leather, tin, and tassels. But instead, she reached for Father's hand and felt his fingers tighten around hers. Chapter 13. I'll let you borrow my rickshaw until tomorrow evening, the woman said, pointing to the old-fashioned one decorated with advertisements for the shop. It will be a good way for your village to know that Hassan's is back in business. Don't worry, said Father. I'll tell everybody that you're as good as your father. He was an honest man and a talented painter. The woman turned to Naima, smiling. It's a good thing you turned out to be a girl with plenty of Alpana experience. I don't think I'd given a boy a chance. The woman's rickshaw was ancient, but well-oiled. Father pedaled hard, and they sped through the dark village. It's a good thing I turned out to be a girl. The words chimed like sitar music in Naima's mind. How did you know where I was, Father? Naima asked. Father slowed down and threw the words over his shoulder. I finally tracked Salim down. It took a while because he'd taken a passenger all the way to the hospital in town. The rickshaw picked up speed again. The wind slapped against Naima's cheeks and blew her hair loose from her braid. She held tightly to Salim's cap so she wouldn't lose it. They'd come up with their secret-keeping policy in the shade of the banana grove. Tell only if one of us might be in trouble. She'd have to borrow Rashida's white ribbon to use as a signal. She couldn't wait to see Salim's face when he heard her news. Mother was awake when they got home. Her eyes widened at the sight of Naima in the borrowed lungi and kurta shirt, but she didn't say anything. Instead, she pulled Naima into her lap. She combed out Naima's tangled hair and rebraided it while Father told her the whole story. Who would have thought that a girl could be trained to work as a rickshaw painter? Mother asked. Times are certainly changing. Of course, we'd never let Naima do this if the owner of the repair shop had been one of Hassan's sons. It's a good thing she turned out to be a daughter instead. Just like me, Naima thought. She stretched out on her mat beside her sleeping sister, tiredness making her aware of every muscle that she had used during the day. In the flickering lamplight, Father gently twisted the golden bangle over Mother's outstretched hand. Once again, the tinkling melody of two bangles filled the hut. Naima smiled as she listened. Now the music that belonged to her family was going to last forever. And that's the end of Rickshaw Girl.